getting tea.
All right, we're live on the page now. Let me just get it shared out to the group, and then we'll be good to go.
All right. Excited.
Where the hell is the page?
And Matt, just so you know, we usually do about 45 minutes an hour, man. So we won't take too much of your day or anything like that. And we'll just go. Awesome.
All good. I've done all my calls this morning, so it's now just proposals and onboarding and all the rest of that type of fun stuff. I'd rather be sitting talking shit than doing that. So
there you go, man. It'll be fun, man. I'm excited. Let me know when we're live on the page. I guess all the people who are going to be watching the replay, click replay below if you're watching this when they're in the replay.
Yeah. All right, we're live on both the page and the group. I'm not going to send out a bot thing right now since I don't have time.
That's fine. Yo, what's up, everybody? We made it. We are a little bit late. We had some technical difficulties with Blue Jeans, our normal software. We might have to switch from that shit, man. That's pretty dumb. I can't believe that. We were working great last week. We just had a call last Thursday. But anyways, so excited to be back in the second week of the new year. Hope everybody is off to a great start. You guys are crushing. I'm super excited. We've actually got someone here who recently joined our group. I exchanged some DMs with, talked with, and very excited to bring on because it's actually started to become kind of a hot topic in my Facebook newsfeed, and that's LinkedIn and LinkedIn selling. And one of the things Matt was talking about, there's a lot of ways to go about it. There's just a lot of people wasting a ton of time. And so I really liked his methodology behind it. We wanted to bring him on, again, give you guys all the strategy you guys need to get started, start building an agency. This is just another tool in your arsenal when it comes to sales. So Matt, man, welcome, and tell us a bit about yourself, your history, man, and welcome to Business Not Bullshit Live.
Good, man. Appreciate it here. Background, I had started selling cars on the internet back in 2006. So that was my adaptation into the online sphere, and built a very large sort of sales training organization where my first niche was automotive. Ended up having about 50 car dealerships around Australia here, teaching their sales teams how to sell cars over the internet. So more focused on what happened after the lead had been generated, not necessarily generating the lead. Years ago, I sort of started to shift and started to dabble in LinkedIn and using that to, start generating some more leads and growing the business, and sort of, implementing that with some of the strategies that I was using. And, I've just been sitting there quietly in the background, absolutely crushing it, using LinkedIn, using some of the right strategies for the last sort of 2 years. And, I dabbled in Facebook a few times and played with it. And I really think the way that I'm geared up and my sort of mindset, being a salesperson who's become a student of marketing over the last decade, not a marketing person that just sells by, default, Facebook itself hasn't I haven't had the patience to put into it normally, where LinkedIn I've been able to sort of just do what I do best and sort of crush it. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey.
Awesome. I love it. I'm personally really interested in LinkedIn and learning more. That's what I'm so excited to have in, because it's something that I want to take a look at this year. I've kind of ignored it in the past. It's only for certain industries. It's only for certain professions, things like that. I know that it is possible. Plus, we ran a few test, ad campaigns on there, and it's been expensive, but that's because we didn't know anything about the platform. So with that being said, because a lot of the conversations we have in here about Facebook ads, direct to market, local business, this is going to be all about getting in front of the right type of people. So with that, can you just give a little bit of an overview of your LinkedIn strategy? Because I think everyone kind of knows about the whole sign up for premium and spam 100 messages to one group of people, after you friend them, things like that. Just give us a little bit overview, and then we'll dive in deeper.
Well, principles stay the same no matter what you're doing. The tactics change dramatically. So the approach of connecting with people and sending them messages and engaging in a conversation is the platform that works. Where people get it wrong and where people really sort of mess up and where it becomes spam, not value, is they make the whole conversations about themselves. So it's either, the approach that they take with people is, here's my product, I'm the best at this because of ABC, and if you're interested, let me know. And, they're doing that, which is like basically walking up to someone in the bar and saying, hey, you look good, you know, I want to get married, I want to have a house with a white picket fence, I want to have 3 kids and a dog, and yada yada yada. It's just the wrong approach. Or the other type they do is they try to sort of do content-driven strategies. So they send someone a message and say, you know, that they sit there and go, oh, hey, I've just written this great article on ABC topic. You might be interested in it. Here's the link.
Yeah.
And they hit them in their thing. And that's the two sort of directions that I see most people taking, you know, taking in LinkedIn. And that, you know, because you're limited by activity levels in LinkedIn, where Facebook, you can do a Facebook bot and you can message 100,000 people and, you know, before you get shut down. LinkedIn, you can only do a couple hundred a day before you sort of start getting into trouble. So you've got to be really creative with the best way of trying to engage in a conversation and start people off. And I use the analogy of, you know, going back to that marriage proposal. If you walk up to someone in the bar, you sit there and go, hey, you're lonely, can I buy you a drink? And then you escalate from the drink to the dance to the let's go home to the, you know, let's have breakfast together, let's move in, let's get a puppy, and then will you marry me? So the biggest key in making it work outside of understanding who your ideal prospect is, you know, because that's a gimme no matter what strategy you're doing. Outside of that is coming up with the best strategy to engage in a conversation and sort of move people from a 0 to 10 to a 1, and then move them from a 1 to a 2, and then progress them. So when they're ready, and this can happen in a matter of, you know, one message plus a few other sort of little things, and can happen very quickly. When they're ready, that they then to hear a sales pitch, you can then start presenting to them. So that's the core. That's the sort of the core overview of the philosophy that makes it work.
Yeah, I see a lot of people on LinkedIn. Like on my feed, complain about the fact that I thought LinkedIn was supposed to be for us to message our stuff to people, and if they like it, then I'm getting some echo, so I'm kind of getting lost here.
We're getting bad feedback, man. Fuck.
I think it's coming off Matt.
Is it?
Yeah. Matt, just mute and unmute, and it should fix the feedback.
Mute and unmute?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, you can mute. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think we're good. A little bit, yeah.
We good?
Yeah, so a lot of people I see on LinkedIn, they're talking about they get mad. I see these posts. They get mad that people complain to them saying it's not the best way to prospect, but they felt that was the platform, what the platform was built for, was for you to just connect with people and message them. And then another thing I wanted you to touch on, because I don't know, I've noticed it on my feeds, and see how this works into your strategy. Like when I have connections on LinkedIn, I have a lot of connections on LinkedIn. I don't advertise there, but what's interesting to me is that in more so than Facebook, I can see the comments of what my connections comment on to other connections. So I can you get expanded more into other networks on LinkedIn than you would on Facebook.
Oh, look, it's a whole different audience on LinkedIn that it is on Facebook, and it's also been conditioned in a whole different sort of way. So, you know, people on LinkedIn, I typically find will respond quicker, allow you to build trust, you know, in a more conventional, let's just get on a phone call and have a, you know, one-on-one conversation way, and we'll spend more money in a shorter amount of time. You know, where Facebook, and I think it's because, you know, there's been so many sort of marketers that have come in and raped and pillaged everyone on Facebook over years that people are just really cautious and really skeptical, and sort of, you know, 90% of the stuff they've bought doesn't work. So the 10% of guys that are out there trying to make a difference, to get them to like, know, and trust you takes so much longer. You know, the thing that I sort of say with everyone within LinkedIn, you're not going to please everyone. And if you're adverse to getting the occasional customer complaint or complaint from a non-qualified prospect, don't go and play there, because, you know, one of my lead measures of every campaign that I'm doing is actually the number of complaints that I get. And if I'm not getting any complaints, then I know I'm not pushing hard enough.
Yeah, man. Well, that's the key in general. If you can't take complaints, if you can't take people, commenting your ads. I run a lot of Facebook ads inbound for our agency up here. I had one that was today that I thought was hilarious. The guy was like, if this dickhole is as bad at targeting as me for his clients as he is for targeting me, then fuck him. You suck. Your ads are low. And I'm like, you're the man, bro. It was just hilarious. Some of the response I kind of laugh at him, because at the end of the day, you said this earlier, Matt, and I wanted to touch on it. The way I view LinkedIn, you can tell me if it's more of like, it's still just a platform to engage and talk with people. A lot of times I feel like people get psychologically built where they're scared to go to certain areas, but at the end of the day, it's still people talking to people, right? It might be take a little bit different strategies with it. It's just people.
Well, principles stay the same. So if selling has been the same since biblical times. Strategies evolve with technology, and then tactics evolve based on the outcomes. One of the things that sort of I sort of use is, most people's inbound campaigns. So when you're putting ads out there, at any point in time, there's only about 3% of the population or 3% of your market that are actively seeking your services or the services that you provide. So 95% of businesses only rely on inbound strategies. So they're putting ads out there and they're waiting for people to come to them. I'm yet to find a sort of someone that has scaled over $1 million in any type of business that hasn't used some form of outbound marketing. And the difference in outbound is you're targeting that sort of 97% that aren't in the market yet, and you're trying to bring them into the market and give them a compelling case to be able to do it. And one of the stories is, I was in Thailand a couple of years ago with a group, and we're sort of there half the business and half for sort of some humanitarian reasons. But one of these days we had 15 minutes spare, and so all of a sudden the guy that I was with dropped us off at a tailor shop. So we're in a cab, we get dropped off at this place. All of a sudden these guys open the door in the cab, and before I realise that I'm in the back of this tailor shop in this nice little room with 4 chairs sitting there. Now, I had no idea I was coming, no idea that I needed a suit. And then all of a sudden, this guy comes out and starts bringing this catalogue out and showing me all these great suits and playing along and asking me qualifying questions and all that stuff. And, I sort of said to him, I let him go for about 5 or 6 minutes, and then I sort of folded the book and handed it over to him and said, man, that looks great, but let me be honest, I don't wear suits. Don't own a suit, don't need a suit. Look, getting me to wear shoes is a challenge, let alone suits. And he goes, oh, okay, fair enough, sir, I appreciate that. And then he stopped and turned around and took 2 steps away, which is something I've done 1 million times in my career. And then he pivoted and turned around and said, excuse me, sir, do you ever wear pants? And just sat there and looked at me, and I went, of course I do. And he goes, great. And then he walked off and he got two bits of fabric and gave them to me. And then he said, which of these fabrics do you prefer? And I picked one. He said, oh, that's great. That's our money. And, 15 minutes later, I've spent $700 on 4 pairs of pants, 3 shirts, ties, socks, the whole Jesus. I wasn't in the market, but he asked me the right questions in the right order, and he brought me into the market. And that's the attitude you've got to have when you're putting campaigns together for LinkedIn, is you've got to look at that right combination of questions to bring people into the market and bring people to, start going, oh, can you help me with problem A, B, and C? And then you start to solve their problems. And then by solving their problems, they go, oh, can I give you money to solve it for me properly? And that's where, fundamentally at its core, that's where people get it wrong, because people try the ads and they'll sort of do some sponsored content, or they'll do the sponsored ad in posts and they're just talking about their solutions. But unless there's a context of what problems your solution solves, people that aren't in the market aren't going to resonate with it. So that's,
I love that. When I'm sales, listen, for everyone watching, bubbling it up. Like I said, there's a small percentage that's going to be low-hanging fruit. There's going to be people who don't know that they need you. There's going to be people who have thought about it but are too lazy to go. And so, you got to get in front of them. I'm a believer in outbound. Outbound helps build our entire business over here. Yes, I do inbound. We're working on more outbound campaigns right now. What I'd love to do, Matt, is actually kind of walk through like an example structure. Let's pick an industry. Let's pick, an example style campaign, so we can talk about maybe some actionable items that the people who are watching here can keep going with.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the most successful type of strategies, so that you're still looking at connecting with the right people, and that's based on an activity sort of thing. So, LinkedIn between 100 and 200 connections a day is sort of where I sort of sit with, and I don't get into trouble too many times with LinkedIn. But you can get sort of put in LinkedIn jail and sort of have your account sort of temporarily suspended if you go too much beyond that. So you send the connections to the right people, and then your first message is one of really 4 key call to actions and 4 key approaches that I take within my first message. The message that I send out to them is still 24 to 48 hours after, and I'm going to either ask them to complete a survey. So I might sit there and say, hey, Nick, thanks for connecting, really appreciate it. If there's anything I can do for you, if you want me to connect you with anyone, let me know. By the way, I know we've just connected, but I'm really doing some research into ABC niche to find out more about ABC problem. Do you mind sharing a couple of your thoughts and filling out a quick survey for me? It'll take you 2 minutes of your time, and it can be completely anonymous. If there's anything I can do to repay the favour, let me know. So that type of sort of conversational message where the call to action is actually just fill out the survey, and people are far more likely to want to help you if they think you're helping out. And then the survey you sort of fill out is sort of strategic to start talking about the problems that you solve and start talking about some of those challenges. And about halfway through the survey, you sort of just sit there and ask a simple question: would you be interested in finding more out about the solution? The answer is no. We end the survey and we don't sell them anymore because we don't want to spam them and annoy them. The answer is yes. We go through and ask a few more qualifying questions and then book in a time to actually speak with them one-on-one. So that's one of the parts you can sort of.
Are you asking just so you're saying on the first message?
First message.
And you're getting people responding. Obviously, guys, it's outbound here. We're not 9 out of 10 aren't going to respond and just start handing you cash. It takes time. But I mean, what kind of response rates are you getting on that? Because that's pretty intense. One message click. I mean, that's not really that difficult to set up either.
No, God, no. Piece of cake. I'll get between a 4 and 5% completion rate of the survey, and in those surveys, I'll get about half of them that actually express interest to find out more information, about half of them not. So you're sort of talking a 2 to 3% lead rate, but the quality of leads, but the 9 or 10 questions you've got in the survey are giving you all the information about their problems, their decision-making process, the value that the solution is going to be to them. So if you structure the survey right, there's a tremendous amount of value that's in there. So the quality of the lead from there compared to sort of say like a Facebook opt-in lead, where you might have a name and email address, compared to you've got a name, phone number, email address, you've got the size of their company, you've got their revenue, you've got how many leads they need to generate a month, how many they want to convert into sale, what their average client value is, and what their biggest challenge with actually converting leads is to sale. Right, so the quality of information is astronomical. So that's just one approach. There's, the other approach that I'll often use is a gift. So I'll connect with someone on LinkedIn. I'll send them a message that says, hey Nick, appreciate the connection. Anything I can do, let me know. And that's it. But then I'll integrate that with email, and I'll do a sort of embedded video in an email that sit there and go, appreciate the connection. I connected with you because of A, B, and C. I saw you're in this industry, and I help businesses solve problems in those industries. Would love to set up a time to chat. Let me know. But in the same time, if I've got their address, which I either get off their LinkedIn profile or off on their website, I've got a little gift going out to them in the mail. So they open this little package, and the one I'm using at the moment, I might have one. That's fine. I had one left that I got sent. Is a dollar coin, a gold dollar coin in a photo frame. And I send them out to them with a handwritten note that says, hey Nick, here's the first dollar of our relationship. when you give me 15 minutes of your time, I'll show you how I can help you make a lot more. All the best, Matt. And they receive that physically in the mail.
So you're hitting them with the connection on LinkedIn, then an email, then a direct mail piece.
And then another LinkedIn message if I still haven't heard from them.
I love it. So I want to use an example here, guys, because you guys know I talked about direct mailing before. That was a huge piece of us getting going when we started really building the agency and ramping up. Today, my business partner, Ben, he doesn't talk to anybody ever. He's been on a few of these lives, balls knows he won't talk to anybody. He'll never pick up the phone. Anybody who gets to our assistant or our front desk, it's not coming through. But guess what he actually had to open today? He opened something that was in a bright red envelope that looked like it was handwritten, mailed to him. And as he opened it, there was a big caution tape inside of it. And it was from an SEO company looking to do reseller stuff. Are we going to work with that company? No. But here's the thing. The message got to the owner. It got to the person that we were looking to get to, which is why, as we both know, Matt, I'm sure you can agree with, that's why direct mail can be so powerful. And I love the idea of using omnipresence within the strategy to really get in front of these guys.
Look, multiple channels. It's, Neil Strauss talked about it, is one of the best ways to build rapport with people is take them on a journey and take them in different places. So by connecting with them on LinkedIn, by then seeing a video of me on Facebook, by then getting a direct mail package, by then getting a LinkedIn message, and then getting a phone call from my PA, all of a sudden they've had 6 or 7 different contacts from me that they're going, dude, this guy's just never going to let up. And that's just month 1 cycle. If I'm targeting the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, I'm going to repeat that process every month for 12 months. And do that same, I've got 12 different gifts that I can send them out. I guarantee you, if I do that to 10 CEOs, Fortune 500s, over that period of 12 months, I will get in their office with at least 8 of them, no matter how hard they are to get in touch with. And the thing is, with doing all that, yes, it takes grunt work, and it's sweat equity, and you're doing that work there. But a $1 coin in a photo frame, how much that cost you? $3 plus, a couple of bucks to send it. It's it's $5. Or you could go spend $1,000 on Facebook ads and get 100 emails that you can never get in touch with. I know what I'd rather
do. Wow. I love that idea and that presence because I've seen it work too. That's why I know it's powerful. And it's amazing that you bring in the lumpy mail today because, like I said, the example we had. Now, I do have a question as far as industry targeting, going after it, because it sounds like you're going after very specific CEO types. Are you also going after your general average business owner? Who all is on LinkedIn these days? I used to be on it a lot when I used to work in professional sports, but I'm not really on there a ton anymore. Is it open for most industries? Has it continued growing as a platform?
It still continues. Like LinkedIn has hit 500 million users, and I don't know the exact stats of engagement, but the engagement rates have increased over the last 18 months. Basically, small businesses, mid-sized businesses, corporates, CEOs, all that stuff, great campaigns. The things that I sort of will put the caveats out there is outside of whether you're prepared to sort of face some rejection and put some sweat equity in and, effectively knock on some doors. So assuming you're prepared to do that, if your product is sort of a B2C product and you're targeting consumers as the end user, there are cases where that works. Say if you're, financial planner and you're targeting, business owners as the consumer, where it works, but largely LinkedIn is not the place for you. You're not going to get a return, and you're not going to get a return out of your effort. Also, if your sort of client value is fairly low, if you've got like a sort of less than $1,000 lifetime value of a client, you're probably going to struggle to make it work in the short term because of the amount of time that you need to sort of take in, because it is really sort of a the scale in sort of being able to sort of run these campaigns is a lot less than say Facebook. You can only be talking to a couple of hundred people at a maximum at a time to start with, which then when you filter that through to the amount that actually accept your request and then the amount that engage in a conversation with you, you're going to sort of struggle to get the returns. But if you've got a product or a service that has a decent value in it, over $1,000 plus, and your target is either direct business owners or CEOs or selling sort of B2B programs, LinkedIn is where you're going to get the best returns, provided A, you have the right approach, and B, you're sort of combining it with something else, and you're using sort of those multiple sort of multi-channels and multi-steps, type of sort of thinking with it.
Gotcha. I love it. So take it a step further, like in your profile. Do you have funnels built in your profile, links to, things to start capturing emails from people who are checking you out? Because I'm already picturing like elaborate strategies. I'm probably overcomplicating all this shit. I'm going to build my profile. I'm going to go do case studies. I'm going to go do this. But
look, I've got, so on my LinkedIn profile, I've got 4 video testimonials from clients. So I've got them on there. I've got a sort of a downloadable PDF. Now the challenge with that is they download it. There's no opt-in, so I've just got a downloadable PDF in there which sort of outlines some of the details of what I've got. And I've got a sort of and I'm actually just building a new one that will go live on there in the next sort of 24, 48 hours, which is another little sort of opt-in form. Which at the moment is the new one I've got going there is LinkedIn Marketing Right for You. And that takes them through sort of an opt-in process. I will generate, so I'm also then actively sort of commenting daily. Like I get very little response from my comments, but with the people that I message, that's where they go and sort of they say, oh, I read your post on blah and that. So you don't get the direct results out of that. You do get the sort of indirects, but if you sort of break it down into sort of 2 key phases, or really probably 3. Firstly, you've got to sort of generate the lead and get, you've got to get them engaged and into a conversation. Secondly, then you've got to sort of qualify those leads to make sure A, they're a good fit for you, B, they've got the needs, C, they're ready to sort of go and make a decision now. And then the third phase is actually go there and close them. So when I'm building campaigns, I've sort of mapped out the 5 key steps to do that, and got processes that you can automate a fair chunk of it and outsource another chunk of it from the activities to build connections, to start conversations, and then work through and to qualify them into, and I use a 3 bucket system. Green is go, yellow is caution, red is stop. So green bucket, they meet all your 5 qualifying criteria. That goes straight into your sales funnels, and they're the ones you need to close and you need to jump on straight away. Yellow is the caution, which means they're partially qualified, but they're not quite there yet. So, that's where there's a sort of you either sell to them and talk to them and engage them, and that's sort of your next tier leads, or you have a BDM type of role filling those leads. And then your third bucket is the red, which they're not qualified, they're never going to be qualified. So they just sit in your content and newsletter type of strategy. So you can sort of complicate that as much as necessary, but I've always found simple is best. There's a lot of moving parts in LinkedIn anyway, but as fewer moving parts as you can have it, and as simple as you can sort of make it, the more effective it's going to be.
Awesome. I love it, man. I'm probably going to go get started. It's just another platform that we should have, new opportunities coming in from, because I'm all about sales.
Look, I did an experiment over the Christmas break. So the sort of 10 days sort of surrounding Christmas, and I've got about 13,500 LinkedIn connections now. So I've been building my connection base for a while, and they're all really targeted in my niche. So they're all business owners and CEOs and that kind of stuff. So I sent out over 10 days. I sent out about 1,500 messages to people asking them to complete a survey. Just simple. Here's and I'm happy to send a link to the survey so people can look at it if they want. Fill out the survey. I had 160 people complete the survey over 10 days. Out of that, I had 17 people go all the way through to actually book a time for me to speak to them, and then another sort of 60 odd people that had given me all their contact details and say, can you follow up, and I'd love to find out more about how you can help me.
Wow.
It cost me, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, Typeform, which is what I use, and it took one of my guys to send those 1,500 messages about 5 hours. Like just mind-blowing results of getting the strategy right and getting the messaging to match that sort of that process of where they're up to in the buying journey. And many of them that I've spoken to in the last week, which quite a few of them have already come on as clients, and I've sort of, banked half a dozen sales already as a result of it. But quite a few of them that come up saying, you know what, I was just thinking about my marketing and deciding what I was going to do, which, as you know, from a sales point of view, that's the ideal type of candidate, because they are thinking about the solution, but they haven't gone out to seek it yet. Because once they go out and seek it, you're all of a sudden you're a commodity and you're competing with 10 or 12 other agencies, and is your strategy better than someone else's? But when they're just thinking about it, when they're just about to actually engage with someone, and they're just thinking about it, and you come across, all of a sudden it's just you. So you can match your service to their needs better. You can get away with charging a fair price because you've helped them solve their problem. They're far more loyal to you than that. And because your nine other competitors don't even know they're in the market yet, they aren't going to be trying to steal them from you. So easier to sell, quicker to sell, more profitable, and they stick around longer just by taking a different philosophy to marketing.
I love it, man. I would definitely love you shoot me the quiz. That'll be perfect, so we can drop down, especially for all the people who are going to be watching this on replay, because they're going to be thinking more about examples, all that type of stuff. I'm actually going to get started on something like this weekend. I've been thinking about it before, and I'm in this very aggressive sales mode right now. I really want to kick off 2018. We had a little bit of churn, a little more churn than I would have liked in December. Let's just say that. So I'm in a heavy sales mode right now, hitting it from all angles. So I'm definitely going to start implementing some strategies like that, see if my specific niche is on there. Balls, I always dominate these fucking calls, man. What questions you got, bro? Like, shit.
I think he was actually you're very detailed on the process, Matt. I would actually like to know, you said you offer this service for people, you do this for people. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so look, I work with clients to sort of set out these campaigns for them. So, anyone that sort of wants to figure out LinkedIn, the first step of what we do is actually just map out this strategy, because although there's sort of systems in place, you've got to sort of get really detailed into hitting the right message in the right market, and that's sort of one of those critical steps. So we sort of map out those strategies. We sit there and look at the activity levels as far as, right, this is what we need to do. I've got a sort of team that I've got that can manage all of these campaigns, and I'm actually sort of recruiting at the moment a team of telemarketers to be able to add another sort of feather to these bows and actually get on the phone and be ringing these leads for you, and doing that. But that's still probably 60 days before I've got the team in place and the team trained to a standard that I'm sort of happy with. But at the moment, the sort of campaigns we run is we can combine LinkedIn with email, combine LinkedIn with direct mail, and then come up with these sort of multi-step processes and sort of systemize and automate as much of it as we can. And then the bits that need to be done manually, we've got the resources that can plug in and sort of do it. Or, because a lot of clients that I work with are sort of management consultants and stuff that have a capacity issue. We build it for them, set it up, train them how to use it, and then they turn it on and off based on their needs. So that's sort of the couple of ways that I can work with people.
Is there any place that you can link us to that?
Mate, I can send you. You can go look at my website, which is mattcancel.com, and that's Matt spelled with one T. Or, as I said, I'm happy to sort of send over the links to a couple of my surveys that I've used, that people can A, use them as examples, or B, fill them out and give me their details, and I'm happy to set up a time to chat with them.
Awesome.
Perfect. Well, I'll be setting time. I definitely want to talk, and I have a lot more.
There's some questions here too. So Tim asked, what does Matt think about sending a postcard to new connections? What type of copy would be on this card, or what would it look like? You did kind of say you do that to some, so I guess some more details on what that entails.
Yeah, awesome question, and sort of thinking in the right path. Certainly worth sending postcards to new connections. About 30% of people I find on LinkedIn and like business owners and stuff, have their address on their website, on their LinkedIn profile, and the majority of the rest of them you can gather their details pretty quickly with a quick Google search. Depending on the outcomes of what you want to achieve is going to sort of change the copy that you use in the postcard a lot. So I'd sort of say spend some time first thinking of that buyer's journey and sort of what you want that postcard to achieve. Like, do you want it to send them to a website, or do you want to get them to call you, or do you want to get them to refer you to someone, or depending on that sort of outcome, have that quite clearly sort of defined, and then you can sort of base the ad copy around there. For me, the only reason I'm on LinkedIn is to generate leads and find clients that I can serve. So the ad copy that I use is very much around trying to magnify their problems and trying to enter their conversation that's in their head and giving them the first step that can help them solve that copy there. So, again, depending on your sort of outcome, you change that slightly, but that's a good structure to follow.
Yeah, and one thing, I'll give an example. This wasn't based around LinkedIn, but this was around cold email and cold calls, which is all the same thing, getting in front of people. And I would send my direct mail pieces, which were responsible for hundreds of thousands of revenue last year. I would simply tell them and instruct them to search for my email that I sent, because in the emails that I sent, created custom videos that did, like you said, they magnified all the problems, they'd set it up. So you can do things as easy as simple as directing people to read an email that you sent out, or hey, check out my next LinkedIn message. I sent you this survey. You can direct them back to that, or to your website, just to give some more hard examples there. I have seen this work. It is absolutely cannot be undervalued for what we're going over on this call right now from a sales perspective. I'm going to be building this weekend. Matt, I'll report back. I'll talk to you even more afterward. But just for everyone watching, I'm going to be doing this, for sure. And we've got leads coming in and sales coming in, but I'm going to find time to make this work, because I know it can work.
Oh, it certainly does. Like, building on the direct mail, one of the most successful campaigns I've done is I sent a $10 note in an A4 photo frame, but also sent with it a hammer, and attached to the hammer was a little travel tag that said, "In case of emergency, break glass." and then the note that I attached with it was, unless you're generating X amount of leads and converting them into sales every month, eventually you're going to need my $10, so you'll be thankful that I've sent it to you. If you'd like to avoid ever needing to use it, give me a call and I'll show you how to do it. And yes, that cost, that was about $25, $30 spend per package that I sent out to them. But out of every 5 that I was sending out cold, I was walking out with the client that was worth $20,000.
Yeah.
So, risk and reward, return on investment was sort of through the roof. So it's about being creative and sort of, finding something that is actually going to sit on their desk, or they're going to remember. I've sent baskets of lemons to people and said, is your sales team a bunch of lemons? Didn't get any direct calls out of it, but then when I emailed them and called them and messaged them in the weeks after, they said, "Oh, you're the guy that sent me the lemons." So it's about being creative, and it's about sort of being memorable.
Absolutely.
In a world where people receive.
And lumpy mail reaches the target. The term that we're talking about here is the lumpy mail term. And I love the idea of combining it with offline and online, methods, because at the end of the day, especially for business owners, things like that, they might miss certain emails. They might forget about LinkedIn. But like I mentioned earlier, we've had a bunch more people jump on this call, but like I mentioned earlier, when someone sends you a big red freaking envelope that's handwritten and addressed to the owner's name, that's the only way. That's the only way that Ben Jensen, my partner over here, would ever get anything. That's the only way I would never get anything through the front desk that I wasn't actively searching for. So it works. It flat out works. I love when you're talking about creativity. That's awesome. I think it's a great strategy. Everyone listening should think about how they can employ that into their outbound, even their inbound campaigns, if they can't get a hold of people, or people are flaking off, if they've got people who schedule things like that. So I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, but it's really about doing it in conjunction with something else. Sending the direct mail piece alone, or sending the LinkedIn message alone, or that just doing it alone is it's like the example I said earlier. It's like walking up to someone in the bar and saying, "Hey, you look good. Will you marry me?" And when they say no, you move on to the next one. When you add it with conjunction with other steps and stuff, you're showing, potential clients. And again, this is aiming at those people that aren't yet actively seeking services. aren't yet actively seeking the products. When you're showing that persistence and showing those multiple steps, you get the response and they remember, remember that. Like I've had people ring me 12 months after I send them a direct mail piece. And because they've been following me on LinkedIn and they've received a couple of messages and all that stuff, they said, hey, dude, you remember you sent me this 12 months ago? I'm ready to go now. Here's my money. So it's been memorable. It's been sort of creative. It's sort of, engaging in the senses, but really taken across multiple platforms is what, is what really it takes to sort of
omnipresent.
Yeah.
Be everywhere. That's so.
What about like posting videos and stuff and doing like training videos on LinkedIn about like your topic or your market, like whatever it is you do? Do you think those are effective? At least if you have a lot of connections in the space to at least start putting content.
It builds credibility. It does make the results of your outbound campaign more effective. So in the short answer is yes, it's certainly worth doing. But if you're doing that and that alone with the expectation of that's going to give you that sort of acres of diamonds and the hordes of leads, you're going to be sorely disappointed. But so it's sort of, that certainly sort of helps, and I'll generate half a dozen leads a month directly from some of my posts and stuff. But I'll generate 80 to 100 leads a month from my messaging, and pretty much every single one of them, either before I've generated my lead or after I've generated my lead, you go and read that content and do that content, and that makes it easy for me to convert them into a client and make the sale.
Awesome. Yeah, I was thinking about doing that, Nick, like when we were talking about the YouTube strategy and all that stuff. I was thinking about putting stuff relevant to the industries that I'm connected with just on LinkedIn. Not so much, like you said, not so much because I don't think I'm going to get a lot of leads from it, but I could build the credibility. So when I do send them a cold email, or they do see my Facebook ad, or they do see something else, they'll already have me in a few different places.
Yeah, exactly. It's the indirect benefits are certainly worth it, but and I know that you've got to have that sort of persistence and that sort of multi-channel approach. A lot of people I see will do, they sort of rely on that one weapon. So they'll rely on just that content and going, well, I've done, I've spent 6 months creating content and I've spent 10 grand on all the equipment and thousands of hours and I haven't got a single lead from it. I've seen that thousands of times of people that have just done that, and you sit there and go, well, you need to do that and that and that and that. And, most people, when they sit there and look at my day and they sit there and look at how many, discovery calls I'm making, how many closing calls, how much time I spend on content, how much time I'm spending, doing stuff like this and just sharing knowledge with people, they sit there and go, I couldn't do that. They sit there and go, okay, well, if you can't do that, then either pay someone to do it or don't expect to get the same results as me, because that's what it takes. That's what it actually takes to succeed. And, anyone that sort of built that sort of $1 million plus business and built that revenue that's hit that limit knows that it's, you can't just do one thing and do it well. You've got to do 100 things.
Yeah, and
to be able to succeed.
And anyone who's promising otherwise, trying to sell you something or a course. If they're promising it doesn't take grit, work, insanity, long hours to get up and running. Sure, eventually the goal is to, have things outsourced and running, but getting things moving, getting past that 7-figure mark, the multi-7-figure mark has been, it's a real challenge. We had some challenges over the last couple of months I'll be sharing with you guys too, but, we're still fighting along. But yeah, it takes a ton of work, man. But it is possible and it can be done. And this whole call is just one giant, amazing strategy that I'm going to start implementing this weekend and start building out my profile, changing a few things up, and get ready to go and start getting some messages ready, man. You kind of pushed me over the edge. I started thinking about it, but why not? Let's get new leads coming in everywhere.
Oh, man, it's totally worth it.
Cool. Paul,
Totally worth it.
any other questions or anything, man?
No, any other questions I have for Matt, I'll be reaching out to him directly.
Yeah, I'll be reaching out to you next.
I don't see any other questions. Oh, somebody did. It's a little bit down in the chat. Somebody asked about, you had mentioned something about embedding an email, or embedding a video in an email or something, and he asked what tool you're using to embed it. I don't know if it's like a custom video with your name. Like, what are you doing in that aspect?
Yeah, I use. Give me 1 second and I'll find it.
Is it the one where you hold up their name on the piece of paper?
What's that?
Is it the one where you just hold up that their name just dynamically appears on the piece of paper?
No. There's it's called Cloud HQ. It's a Google app. It's a free app, which is what I love about it. But what I do is I'll use that. I'll record a video. So if I'm recording a video, like for a sort of LinkedIn campaign that I'm going to send to 1,000 people, I'll sit there and record it, and just like I'm sitting here now, say, hey, look, really appreciate the connection on LinkedIn. We just connected a couple of days ago. The reason I connected is because when I've seen your profile, you look like the type of client that I can help. And over the last 12 months, I've helped with half a dozen clients fix problem A, problem B, and problem C. Would love to set up a time, 5-10 minutes, just have a quick call, just to see if there's any opportunities to help you grow your business, increase your revenue and profits. If there is, let me know and we'll set it up. So I'll record that once, embed that into, and actually go and embed that onto the site there. And the beautiful thing of the site there is there's no counter, there's no ads, there's no nothing else. It's just that one video. So there's nothing that gives it away that I've sent it to 1,000 people. And then I'll just take that and I'll embed that into a HTML email in my CRM. And I'll make that look plain text, so it's all white, all copy apart from the video, no graphics, no nothing like that. And then I'll send that out, and then we trigger the campaign to go out from there. So it's a little bit sneaky.
What's the service?
And this. What's that?
What was the service?
Cloud. I think it's Cloud HQ. I'll look it up when we get off the chat and sort of share the link. Okay. I'll share the link, but yeah, it's at
Cloud HQ is the syncing of different services. I don't know if that's it.
Yeah, Cloud. There's a. Let me just bring my Gmail up here.
And then another question you had mentioned. You had mentioned sending stuff out of your CRM. So with these cold emails that you're sending out to your LinkedIn prospects, are you using your main domain, your main.com or whatever it is, or do you just set up a separate account for your .net or whatever?
Look, I do it from my main account because I'm doing low volume. So because I'm not doing, I'm not sending it out to the time I'm sending out 40 or 50 a day. From there, so I monitor fairly closely the open rates and the spam rates and all that kind of stuff. So I sort of keep it at a low volume, so that it's not going to sort of risk adversely sort of my domain. If I was doing a high volume campaign, if I was sending more than sort of a couple of hundred emails a week, I certainly would sort of set up a subdomain or set up something that's separate from my main server. But because of the volume that I'm doing out with,
it's super targeted, and it's targeted.
Yeah, right? Super targeted. It's me marketing, not mass marketing.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I can't pull that link up because I'm using the web camera, so it won't let me link up. But I'm pretty certain it's Cloud HQ, but I'll look it up as soon as I get off, and I'll whack it in the comments for everyone.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna go ahead.
It's a great tool.
It was mattcancel.com with one T.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and link that on the notes in the underneath the video, so people can go and check it out. Nick, do you have anything else? I think that was a great call. A few people said they have to go back and watch it because LinkedIn, and that's the thing, right? Like, I've run LinkedIn ads and they sucked. I don't even know how to run LinkedIn ads, but I know that the clients are there. Some of my clients, potential customers, are there, so I need to figure it out as well.
Yeah, and
it's not. I've said it a few times. I'll say it again. It's not about trying to make LinkedIn ads work. It's about using LinkedIn to build a targeted prospecting campaign. That's the fundamental difference. If you're trying to make LinkedIn ads work and doing an inbound campaign in LinkedIn, I've spent probably 15 grand on LinkedIn ads and sponsored content and all that kind of stuff. I'm yet to even get half of my money back in sales from doing that. So, don't start trying to make LinkedIn ads work. Figure out how to use LinkedIn as a vehicle and it's sort of one of the steps in a prospecting campaign, and that mindset will get you far further down the track for half the stress and a tenth of the dollars.
No, I love it. do it right now. I'm actually going to go back and listen to it. We gave an overview of a strategy that's currently working. We'll get that the survey from you here, Matt, and then combine it with the direct mail. I mean, it's all here, guys. Another strategy I'll be implementing this weekend. I can't wait to share some case studies and some results from this. But Matt, man, I really appreciate you jumping on. Welcome to the group. We're excited to have you around. This has been great. Call shared a lot of good content here, man. So yeah, I want to thank you for jumping on.
I appreciate it.
You got it. All right, balls.